Hey, what's going on, guys? In today's video, I thought we would have a look at the Funko Pop animation Rick and Morty number 300, Scary Terry. Okay, muchachos, let's figure out how tall Scary Terry is. Now, I've included the stand. Truth be told, the stand's not really making him much taller. With the stand, Scary Terry stands at 4.5 inches in height. Without the stand, he'd be about the same, 4.5 inches in height. Yes, this particular one does come with a clear display stand with a little peg on the top. Just one. He has one peg hole, just one, on the underside of his foot. Technically, you can get him to stand without the stand. Doesn't seem to be much of an issue, but stands also certainly go a long way, and then you don't have to worry that at any given point, Scary Terry's going to fall off your shelf. I don't want that. That would make me really, really sad. Really sad. Okay, so let's have a look at Scary Terry here in pop form. Of course, as pop figures go, there's really no articulation to this guy except for his head. We'll talk about that in a second. Oh, I gave it away. But yes, he only has head articulation. But Scary Terry is one of my favorite. It's really hard to kind of pinpoint favorite characters from Rick and Morty, but he's one of my favorite characters. I think it's also because he bears some striking resemblance to one Freddy Krueger. In this instance, though, he's got now 2 gloved blade hands and quite this different striping on his shirt. Striping, for the most part, is pretty good, although, yeah, it gets a little messy. Somebody had a poopy right there. There's a little bit of a black smudge there and a little bit of black smudge there. The striping doesn't quite line up when you have a look at the 2 halved torsos that come together. Something you can very well overlook due to the nature of the size of the figure. The blades, at least, look like they're generally painted well. Okay, maybe not. Yeah, there's it's a little bit of messy mess there as well. The brown is carried over into the blades, but I suppose you're really not going to look at him from the back. I don't know what sickos out there are going to display their figures, their pop vinyl figures from the back. You're probably going to be displaying them more so from the front. From the front, pretty clean, except for a little bit of a poopy poop there. Coloring is nice and vibrant. Really like the face sculpt, which I think resonates well as Scary Terry. Like all the boils and the scarring here is actually raised, which is a nice touch. Even like the little boils down below also stick out rather than just an absolutely smooth face. His ears, what are left of them, are kind of more or less just little stumps. His unibrow is painted in purple, carries a little bit over to the nose, and a little bit of paint removal from the top corner area there. Otherwise, that's not too bad. I also like the fact that they've gone in and they panel lined some of the areas just to kind of make the texturing of his face stand out. I don't think he's one that could really just have, an absolutely smooth face. You had to go in there, Funko, that is, and they had to actually, draw those out so it looked like it looked a little bit more stuff going on as opposed to just being a smooth surface. His hat is not removable, in case you were wondering. I don't think many would expect the hat to be removable, but it is not. A hat, fedora, makeshift fedora. It actually kind of looks more like a really raggedy sort of, I guess it does kind of look like a ranger's outfit, like a park ranger's hat. I don't think that's really the idea that they were going with, but it seems like it's a slightly shade lighter than what it should be based on the show. I feel like the show, it's got a little bit more of a darker brown. Equally so, I feel like the shoes should have been a little bit darker, but those are little small nitpicks for an otherwise pretty decent looking figure. Okay, let's talk about his posability. You missed it? Okay, let's do it again. Yes, that's all. That's all you're going to get from the pop vinyl figures, but that kind of goes without saying. That's about on par with generally all the pop figures except for the ones that are the bobbleheads. Luckily, this guy isn't a bobblehead. I think I actually prefer having the articulation in the head, but I think those are more so the Marvel and the Star Wars that seem to have the bobbleheads, not the regular property, Marvel and Star Wars property Pop vinyl figures. So all around, not a bad looking Pop vinyl of Scary Terry. I suppose I say ad nausea that I'm not a big fan of Pop vinyl figures, and it's still true. I know there's certain figures I would probably pick up if I saw them. Case in point, Scary Terry. Case in point also, the last 5 minutes or so that we've been looking at a vinyl figure for a reviewer that just doesn't generally like these. Okay, so I am a bit of a hypocrite. I think Scary Terry turned out quite good. Paint's a little rough in some areas. For the most part, he actually turned out pretty good. And just like the back of the box, there's total of 6 figures. Those figures are Beth, Jerry, Summer, Lawyer Morty, and Young Rick. Probably would find myself picking up all of those because I'm also a big fan of Rick and Morty. Scary Terry and those other Pop vinyl figures are currently available at your local comic book store, so if you guys want to pick these up for yourself, I think they're pretty cool. And at the very least, if I was to pick up one of them, one of the 6 that I just mentioned, I had to pick up Scary Terry. That kind of goes without saying. Big fan of horror movies, and specifically one Fred Krueger. Obviously, Scary Terry has some semblance of Freddy Krueger. Today we were having a look, though, at the Funko Pop animation Rick and Morty number 300. This was one Scary Terry. Maybe not as scary, but he was still Scary Terry. If you guys want to, go back and have a look at some of the other Pop vinyl figures that I've done, there's a playlist for that. If you guys also want to go back and have a look at some of the other Rick and Morty reviews, I've done a lot of stuff from portal guns, ray guns, oh my, figures, and Pop vinyl figures. You'll find a big, massive playlist of Rick and Morty stuff. So go in, sink your teeth into that, and enjoy the juicy nectar that is the Rick and Morty videos on this channel. There's a lot of them. Thanks for watching, as you always do, guys. I'll see you next time.